Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, August 14th. It is 6:19 right now. Market's gonna open in about 11 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update. Looks good. All right. Looks like we are good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this link real quick so that you guys can join in. All right, here goes the Zoom link. All right, everything looks good. So as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here. All right, dropping down from the daily down to the 8-hour. Dropping down to the 4-hour. Dropping down to the 2-hour. Dropping down to the 1-hour. Down to the 30-minute. Down to the 15-minute. Down to the 10-minute. And right back down to the 1-minute. So looking at current price, you got liquidity sitting across the board over here. So we got price right here down the middle. Closest level of liquidity is above at 39,916, and the closest level below is at 39,881. This lower level here is getting hit right now as we speak. You guys can see a huge spike in candle right here based off the PPI news from this morning. So we had some high impact news this morning, which is PPI, producer price index. Obviously, it spiked price back and forth. A lot of opportunities here. So I actually took that. So I took the buy earlier when it spiked up right here, and I just finished up the 7 extra 300K count. So I basically have like 7 backup. I have 7 backup 300K PA counts with Apex now. I'll post my profits over here real quick. Show you guys. I just wanted to finish them up. So you guys can see over here, these are the 7 accounts that I had extra on accident from over the weekend when my accounts renewed. So I have now 7 more PA accounts. What I'm going to do here is for 7 of these PA accounts that I already have funded, I'm just going to increase the contract size for those accounts. And then I will just get some payouts on those accounts. And then once those accounts are done, I will cancel them and then just switch them out with these. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. I just have some backups now. So basically I have 20 300K PA counts, and then I have 7 extra backups. So I can just increase contract sizes on 7 of my already funded accounts. Get as many payouts as I can on those. and then whenever necessary, swap them out. That's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, again, these are all my other accounts, my personal account up here, and then the rest of my PA accounts down here. So yeah, I mean, about 7,000 this morning across the accounts, and they're way past the threshold. Threshold is 20,000, 23,000, 21,000, 21,000, etc. And I'll just leave those as is. All right, so good morning, everybody. Looks like everyone's starting to make their way in. Today is Wednesday, August 14th. It is 6:25 right now. We have liquidity marked up over here. I'm trying to clean up this liquidity because it's pretty much done with. Closest level of liquidity above is at 39,916, and the closest level below is at 39,786. We had a level of liquidity right here, but it already got knocked out, so I just deleted that. Volatility right now is currently at 10 ATR. It's pretty low. And we'll see what happens here when market opens. The news from this morning was negative, I believe. So we had PPI this morning, or CPI actually. We had PPI yesterday. We had CPI today. So CPI was a bit mixed. It was negative and it was positive. So looking at that right there, we had news at, let's see, 4 o'clock, 5:30, and then we have news at 7:30, which is gas stock change. So 4, 5:30, 7:30. Let me mark that up for you guys real quick. So 4 o'clock over here. Which was low impact. 5:30, of course. We had low impact news. Impact news. And then we have more news over here at 7:30. There we go. All right, guys. So good morning, everybody. Today's Wednesday, August 14th, 6:27 right now. Market's going to open up in about 3 minutes. If you guys are just joining in, we have the closest level of liquidity above at 39,916 and the closest level below at 39,786. We had another level of liquidity here that already got hit. So if you guys took that, it looks like it's pushing right on down further. We have news marked up from here. We had 2 news events this morning, low impact news at 4 o'clock, and then we had CPI Consumer Price Index at 5:30. Which was high impact. You guys can see the big spike over here. Also, I traded this morning just to finish up the rest of my evals that were accidentally purchased. So I had 7 accidental renewals on my accounts. I locked in about 7,500 per account. So these are, I now have 7 more extra PAs that are just kind of hanging back for backup. And like I said earlier, so you're going to see profits kind of fluctuate across my accounts because I'm going to be increasing my contract sizes on 7 of my already funded PA accounts. And I'm just going to get as many payouts as I can on those accounts before I cancel them out and switch them with the new ones. So I just have some backups. It was an accident. I didn't plan on getting backups because they don't really allow that anymore, but here we are. So, all right, guys, market's going to open up in about 2 minutes. Price is currently below the pivots. Trend meter is red. Pivots are angling down. Divergence is bearish. So we might be looking for some sells today. Looking over here at retail sentiment. Retail sentiment is currently 65% short. This indicates that 65% of retail traders are currently selling right now. So you typically want to do the opposite and buy. However, if price continues to drop, I'm okay with taking sells. We're not really swing trading or day trading anything too long hold here, so it doesn't really matter to us. We'll take trades whether they're buys or sells. Just depends on like what the market gives us. Looking over here at CNBC, there's no breaking news for today. I mean, aside from this here, so it says S&P 500 futures gain as inflation rate slows to 2.9%. So that's good for the economy. Obviously, you don't want to follow CNBC news. You kind of just want to take that with a grain of salt, but that's the current breaking news for today so far. So market's going to open up shortly, guys. We got 30 seconds till market open. We have a bunch of sessions sitting right here. We have sessions on both sides. So you guys want to be a bit careful when you're looking for these entries here because we got red flags. down here, we got red flags up here. So you might want to wait for price to break out of this area before you start looking for entries. So wait for price to probably break below and continue lower, or wait for price to push above and continue up higher from here. But this is going to be a tricky area to be trading in down the middle. All right, guys, market is now open. So we got market open right here. Perfect. It's right in between the sessions. So it's right in between the sessions. So this is going to help us with kind of like keeping away from all the areas that we don't want to be trading in. All right, so we have a possible market flow entry that is setting up right here. If this comes back down lower, it's not one that I would recommend taking because it's right at opening price. Also, it's going to have to cut into the sessions below. So there's a market flow entry that's currently running right now in profit. Like I said, it's going to have to cut through the sessions down here. So this is considered a red flag, as you guys know, not a type of entry that I'd be looking to take. So I wouldn't have taken that there. It was also at opening price. So this whole area down here, you want to be careful because this is all red flags. We have high impact news over here from CPI. You can see how price kind of rejected off that point. This is just an area of manipulation. So you don't want to trade within this whole middle area right here. This whole area is considered a red flag to me because we have the Asia high right here. We have the New York high right here. We have high impact news here from CPI news that just came out at 5:30. We have the London high down here, and then we have the Asia low down here. So it's just a big area of manipulation and red flags. Wouldn't necessarily recommend anybody take any trades around this area down here. So I'm going to sit tight and wait. Again, like I said earlier, I'm going to wait for price to break out of this area. So I'm going to wait for price to push up and climb higher. Or I'm going to look for price to push down and drop lower. So I'm looking to take trades up here, and I'm looking to take trades down here. But I do not want to take trades right here down the middle because this is where a lot of manipulation is going to happen. You guys can see it's pretty clear. Price right here is having trouble getting past the news price from this morning. This was the consumer price index news from 5:30. You guys can see the huge candles right here. That's where price is having trouble getting past. It pushes up and it spikes right back down. Might finally make a run for it right here. It's pushing up to the liquidity and the sessions up there. If price does push up higher, this is going to be the first target. These two sessions. And again, I don't really care what's going to happen down this middle area. I'm waiting for it to break out of here. So I want price to break out of the manipulated area, come up here, and I'll look for some entries in this area above. So right now I'm just going to sit tight, watch and see what happens here, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to be a little careful today. This CPI spike caused a lot of uncertainty. So you can see again right here, price got literally right to the New York high and it bounced directly off it. So this is an example of what I mean about this being a manipulated area, because one of two things may happen here. Price may reverse from here and come right back down, or it can break above and just continue climbing very heavily. But you can see how strong these candles react right here, right? It got right to this green line, which is the New York high, and it reacted directly off that line. Like it didn't even push anywhere past it, right? It broke through it, but then you can see the body, it literally stopped at the line. So you don't really want to mess around with trades around these areas. There's a whole reason I created this indicator. It wasn't necessarily to take trades at these points. It was to avoid trades at these points. And this is a clear example of what we're looking to avoid. So I'm just going to look out for you guys here. I'm going to tell you guys where it's risky. You guys can follow whatever strategy you guys want to take, whether it be one of my strategies or not. But I'm going to give you guys a heads up whenever I think it's going to be a risky area to trade in. Like, for example, right here, there's a market flow entry coming up. It looks pretty solid, but I'm not going to take it. This is a market flow entry right there. It's just a little tricky because it's touching the high impact news event. The high impact news events will act as sessions. So they're just as manipulated as sessions. You can see over here, these two previous candles, they bounce directly off the news price. There's a high impact news event, consumer price index. There's three big news events that happen every month. It's NFP, PPI, and CPI. Today was CPI, so obviously, I'm going to watch out for this area here. I'm not going to take any trades around this area because this is where you can easily get faked out and get stopped out very quickly. So again, clear example right there of why we avoid trades in this middle area. So I'll just keep waiting. Again, I'm looking for price to break below here. If price breaks below here, the next target is going to be the liquidity down here. So if price breaks below, the closest level or the next level that we'll be looking for price to push down to will be this level of liquidity down here. Same with the way above. If price pushes above and it breaks out of these sessions, first target is going to be this liquidity right here. Steven said the sound is lagging. Is anybody experiencing any lag? I think it might just be Steven. I saw Steven log in like 5 times. So I think it might be your internet connection, Steven. I don't see anybody else here having any issues. All right, so we got price still sitting right here down the middle. Again, I'm waiting for price to push above or below. Another market flow entry right there, setting up. Not one I would take, but again, nonetheless, market flow entry. It's gonna have to cut through the sessions. That's why it's not one I personally take. Full TP right there if you guys caught that market flow entry. But again, you can see how price has trouble getting past this green line. That's why I don't mess with any trades around this point. All right, we're just gonna sit tight, guys. Sit tight and wait for something here to provide us opportunity for entry. There's no rush, so just keep that in mind, guys. No need to rush anything. Just want to wait for these entries to come to you. So there's a V1 pattern that came up right here. Obviously, it came down. So if you guys take that as a V1 variation, there's also a CV pattern. Came down pretty nice. So I think the main thing to look out for here would be the reversal pattern. So look for V1 variations and CV patterns. If you guys can find those V1 variations and CV patterns, that's probably going to be the initiation of the reversal or continuation in that specific direction. So again, right here, another market flow entry. Not one that I would take because, like I said, it's going to have to cut through the sessions up there. So there's a couple market flow entries that are coming up here. They're pretty solid. Volatility here is still pretty low. Yeah, Rashida said the buy signal keeps pending. I agree. So it's trying to push up. It's trying to get out of this area. It's just not having too much luck. It doesn't have enough volatility behind it. So you can see over here, it's been tested about 4 times. 3 candles right here and 1 big candle right here. Keeps trying to get past the sessions right here. That buy signal is pending. As you can see, it's trying to push through. It keeps trying to push, push, push. Eventually, it's going to break out and it's going to climb out through here. But before then, you might get some fake outs right here. It might come up, come back down, come back up, and then eventually it'll just break through. So again, right there, pending buy signal, another failure to breaking close above it. So realistically, looking at current price, it's pretty much just ranging between the New York high right here and the London high. If you want to go off whole numbers, it's pretty much between the 950 and the 850. It's 100 pip or 100 point range right now. So what did I say, 950? And 850. So this is kind of the range, but The actual consolidation zone is going to be like right here. So you can see how price is trying to get past this area, right? That's where the sessions is sitting. Sessions is right there. It's trying to break out of this area. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to break out. Once it's up here, I'll look for some buys. But right now, just don't got that. And here it goes. Price pulls right back into the range. You guys can see this range was created from the news earlier this morning. So at 5:30 right here, the CPI news came out, spiked up, spiked down. It created the range and price has not been able to break out of it since. So it faked out down here, came right back in. Ever since the news came out at 5:30, it's having trouble getting out of this area. That's why I'm looking for price to break out of here or below here. Because once that happens, then you can possibly look for some continuations. Otherwise, looks like price is just going to keep bouncing back and forth between this area here. I mean, it's a high impact news day, so it's not really a big surprise that this is happening. This is pretty much a given. There just isn't any direction here today. This is normal for summer market. So again, guys, if you guys have never traded summer markets before, this is probably I think our 8th summer together trading live. This is normal, right? During the summer markets, the market consolidates a lot, ranges a lot. Typically, you have to look for specific entries like V1 variations. And now that I've introduced the CV entries to you guys, those entries as well. Those are probably the best entries to look for during these sideways markets because you can catch the tops and bottoms basically. So for example, there was one right here, V1 variation. You could have caught the top right there as it pulled back into the range. And that'd be a quick sell right there for a V1 variation / CV. All right, we got price trying to break out of this area again. The thing that you want to look out for here is the possible fake out. If it breaks out of this area, always look out for the fake out. So price finally broke above the sessions. So there's two things that will happen here. Price will either push above, retest this sessions and come back down, or it's going to fake out where it's currently at right here and pull back down into the range as is. So just keep an eye out for that. Look out for the possible fake out. You can see this is a consolidation area, but the range is still far out. So price can fake out of this consolidation area and then come right back into it. Or if it doesn't push out that far, it'll just fake out into it right now where it's currently at. There's another market flow entry that's setting up right here. Again, it's not one I would take because it's right at the sessions. I really just need price to push out of this area. So technically there's a market flow entry that's currently running right now, not one I'm in or not one that I plan on taking. All right, so again right here, guys, another example of why we don't trade at the sessions, right? I'm gonna keep showing you guys examples so that you guys understand this. I know most of you guys do understand this, but there's a lot of new people here. So just so you guys understand, there's a whole reason why I created this indicator. It's so that we don't trade at these price levels because this is where manipulation happens. We got price pushing up right now, finally. Again, it might come up, test the upper level session right here and come right back down. So again, look for two things. Look for price to push up, bounce off the session right there, come back down, or look for price to push up, break and retest, and continue climbing. But you can see right here, it's bouncing directly off the purple line like I said it would do. And it's textbook. This happens all the time. So now that we have this second candle here, you can look for one of two things. You can look for a V1 variation. If this candle closes red, you can possibly see this here pull back into the range because that'll be a V1 variation reversal pattern. Or if it doesn't happen like that, you can see price break and retest and continue to climb up higher. I don't really care where price goes. I'm just waiting for the market to give me what I'm looking for. Hasn't given me it yet, so I will continue to wait this out. All right, we got price finally breaking out of this area. So you can see price finally broke out of the range. I'm going to leave the range here in case price does pull back out or pull back in. I can easily just fake out and pull back into this area. That's something that typically happens very often. Again, the first target here is going to be the liquidity. So if it continues to climb up from this point, possible area for it to push up to would be that area of liquidity right there. Let me see if there's any other levels above. So if price climbs any higher, there is no more liquidity up here, at least not that's close enough. So it'll be out in open space if price ends up pushing up any higher from where it's currently at. Looks like there was a levels entry here that got filled. Looks like it probably already hit. Yeah, there's a levels entry right here. Again, I'm going to call out these other strategies as you guys see. There's also a breakout V3 continuation right here as well. So price broke and closed above the level, came back to the retest. This was a levels entry. This is also a breakout V3 entry and a breakout V3 continuation. So if you took this as a breakout V3 continuation, the entry would have happened right there. Again, those aren't the entries that I'm personally looking for. I'll use those as confluences, but I'm mainly looking for market flow entries. So I'm just waiting for these market flows to come up. Again, this is doing what I just showed you guys. I said look out for the fake out because that typically happens. That's why I left the range here. So price pushed up, lured in some buyers, and it fakes right back out into the range down here. So typical trap, this huge manipulated candle right here. I'm looking at level 2. There's no reason for this to come down that heavy. This is a huge manipulated candle. And there's a lot of sellers here, but not enough to cause this to happen. And again, this is, like I said, textbook red flags. That's why I don't like trading around these areas. So easy to get faked out, get stopped out over here. It's crazy how it played out exactly how we thought it would. That's why I said look out for the fake out because it could easily come up a little bit and pull back down. I wasn't expecting this big of a drop, but I was expecting some sort of drop back into the range here. Let's go back to our clean chart. You can see prices back in this middle area, like it never went anywhere. So price came up a little bit. It lured in all the buyers, and it was like, nope, right back down. We see this every day, guys. This is why it's like not a surprise to us, you know. Fake outs, they're just part of the game. The key thing is that you don't get caught in these fake outs, right? If you guys can learn to not get caught in these fake outs, you'll save so much money because you'll just keep, if you keep getting caught in these fake outs, you'll just keep losing. But if you know how to avoid the fake outs, you'll just, you know, you'll avoid those losses. So you, instead of racking up losses, you'll just end up wins. You'll end up with your wins and then not have to suffer these losses that will set you back. So looking over here, CNBC just reported, they said S&P rises slightly as inflation. Same news from earlier. There actually was no update there. So it says stocks tick higher after soft inflation report. From The Economist says net, the inflation outbreak is over. So CNBC just reported that the market was good. As soon as they reported it, price came crashing down about 100 points. Yeah, go figure. Take a look at retail sentiment, if it's changed at all. Not very many changes there. It's kind of just staying where it's at. But again, we're right back down here in the area that we don't want price to be in. So, all right, guys, just a heads up, if you guys are just joining the room, there's no official trades that have been taken yet. We've been sitting around this area of manipulation down here in the middle. Again, I'm looking for price to break out of this middle area right here. I don't want to trade where any of these sessions are. Looking for price to push up and climb up higher. I'm looking for price to push down and drop down lower. So I don't really have much here. I have profits here that I've taken earlier this morning. So I made about 7,000 per account. Those are my other accounts. And then my main accounts down here, it's all at zero because I haven't taken anything yet. Nothing during the live session. Here goes, price climbs back up. There's no market flow entries here. Here we go, price projects directly off the Asia high. See if it actually breaks through now. So again, if price pushes up higher, the first target is going to be the liquidity right here. There's no other liquidity above it. So if it climbs up past this area, it's just going to be an open space, which is going to be perfect. We prefer to trade in open space. It's nice to have targets, but for the most part, when it's out in open space, there's going to be less and less manipulation happening. This is a possible divergence right here. You can see the divergence is crossing over down below. So I'll just, if I see any entries here from any of the other strategies that we apply, give you guys a heads up. The divergence there did cross over, but it's right at the sessions down here. Hey, DA, morning. Hey, Purity. Good to see you and good to hear from you. Congrats on your baby. I know you've been busy taking care of your baby, so you haven't been trading very much, but good to hear from you, Purity. Yeah, it's always good to see a lot of old faces here, guys. You know, a lot of people here come and go. People typically tend to come back after a couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of years. But it's always good to see a lot of old faces here, especially people who've been around for, I mean, how long has it been? I think we've been trading live for about 8 years now. So we've met a lot of people on these live sessions for sure. Nice. Yeah, Purity said she'll be back in the loop soon. Definitely. Yeah, Drew. That was. All right, guys. We have a possible market flow entry here setting up. I'm not going to take it because, again, it's right at the sessions, but so there's a market flow entry here, but it would have to cut through the sessions, which, again, I don't want to trade at because there's a lot of manipulation that happens at these sessions. So I'll mark it up right there for you, but because there's the sessions right there, I wouldn't really mess with it. So full TP right there. If you guys took that trade, great work. If you guys didn't, again, it's fine. I would have found this entry to be a bit too risky because of the sessions right there. Let's see, DA said, Sean, I'm going to buy from 39,400. 39,400. So did you buy that from? So price wasn't, well, it was down there yesterday, or I mean, not even yesterday, I don't think. Yeah, so the buy, I guess you got in from the dip over here. It was yesterday morning. If you were up that early, that's really early in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning is where you got in. 9,400. Yeah, I mean, I guess if your time zone fits, I would be sleeping at that time. The only time for you to get in at that price would have been like way down here, about 3 a.m. for me. I'm assuming your time zone's different. All right, so the liquidity right here just got hit, guys. There goes the liquidity right there. That's the first target that I mentioned earlier. This could be a possible high-low scalp if anybody's looking to take that. Again, I'm not looking to take those strategies or those entries. I'll use them as a confluence. Use it as a confluence. So now that we have a high-low scalp right here, this could be a possibility of a continuation to the upside. So possibly a break and retest off the liquidity there, and possibly a continuation up. We'll see what happens here next. So I cleaned up that liquidity there. So the thing that you want to be careful for here, guys, is if this here closes with a red candle, this is going to be a V1 variation. This is a reversal pattern. And then on top of that, if this candle closes smaller than this one, this will also be a CV entry. So I actually wouldn't take any buys here. This is what I mean about using the strategies as a confluence, because you can kind of tell where price is going to go next. So if this candle here closes red, I'm expecting a possible retracement or reversal back to the downside, possibly a retest of this level or the sessions down here. That's one scenario. The other scenario is a fake out and continuation right back up. Right. So I use these as confluences. I don't necessarily take them as standalone anymore as I used to. I just use it as confluences because my main strategy is going to be market flow. So what I'm going to look for here is I'm actually going to look for a market flow entry. So I'm looking for that retracement because we have the V1, we had the V1 variation pattern. I would like to see a possible retracement to the downside, bounce off the pivot, and climb up higher from here. So I'm looking for a market flow entry. I'll be watching for it down here. Probably not going to happen on this candle. Possibly may happen on the next candle. Gotcha, DA. So DA is from South Africa. Yes, your time zone's way different. I'm assuming, yeah, that's pretty much why you were awake at 3 a.m. my time. I think you guys are kind of on opposite times. All right, guys, possible market flow setting up on the next candle, not this one, but possibly the next one. The volatility here is starting to slow down. We're getting closer to 7 o'clock, guys. So as you guys know, once it gets closer to 7 o'clock, we have a like the volatility starts to die down. And it's gonna be hard to look for some entries here because we need volatility for these market flow entries. So probably not going to get a market flow on this one here. Yeah, we're not getting one here, of course. Maybe on the next candle. There's no news at 7. News is at 7:30. So we still got some time till the gas stock change comes up over here. I have a blue line marked up at news, so we got some time in between. So no entry here for market flow, possibly on the next candle. So again, I'll keep watching from here. If it drops down hard enough, I'll look to put my pending order there. I'm going to drop down a little further. It's got 37 seconds left on this candle. I'll put a pending order right here just in case it swings back up. If it doesn't fill, I just cancel it, of course. Let's see, we've got 16 seconds left on this candle. We've got 10 seconds left on the candle. I'm going to cancel my order. It's not going to fill. So no fill right there, no entry. Another possible market flow on the next one. I'm not going to take this anymore, guys. I'm going to wait because price is obviously consolidating right here. I don't like the consolidation sideways. I need price to actually be moving. So this one never filled, canceled my order. This one over here may swing back up, but again, we have a pending sell signal here, which is not a good sign. I'm going to be using the confluence over here for the V1 variation pattern that I mentioned earlier. It's pretty much doing what I said earlier, right? So earlier we had a V1 variation right here, double body rejection. I said price is probably going to come back down and retest the level and then possibly climb back up from there. So that's what I'm going to wait for. I'm going to wait for price to come down, bounce off the structure, and then come right back up. And then once it comes right back up, that's where I'm going to look for my entry. So I want price to come down, come up, retrace, bounce off the pivot, and come back up to retest this upper level of price structure right here. All right, there's a possible entry right here setting up for a market flow. Let's see, put my pending order right there.
Order submitted.
It's not filled yet. We've got 42 seconds right here on this candle. So I'm just leaving my pending order right there. It probably won't fill. But I'm just leaving it there just in case. We've got 30 seconds left on this candle. It's a lot of time. So this is probably not going to fill. We've got 20 seconds left. I'm just going to cancel it so far down. So pending order canceled right there. All right, looks like it's faking out and it's pulling right back into the range from earlier. So I didn't clean up that range yet. And you can see over here, price pretty much faked out right here earlier, pulled back into the range, faked out again right here, pull back into the range. So same fake out patterns that I've pretty much been warning you guys about earlier. We need to have a pretty strong confirmation of the continuation to the upside. We still don't have that yet. But again, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for price to break out of this area and actually move away from this range. Otherwise, it's just going to keep faking out. It'll push up a little bit, pull right back down, just like it did again right here. Push up a little bit, pull right back down. You don't want to trade around this middle area here because it acts like a magnet. You don't want to trade within this middle area because you'll probably get faked out in both directions if you do. So again, right here, prices in between the red flags, which is the Asia high and the New York high. We don't trade around those areas. Let's take a look at the bigger picture here. So the 4-hour time frame is starting to shift back to bullish trend. 1 hour is bullish, 30 minutes bullish, 10 minutes bullish, 5 minute is bullish, but it's shifting. And the 1 minute over here is shifting as well. So the 5 minute and the 1 minute are having trouble holding the trend, or actually it's just the 1 minute. The 5 minute is still pretty bullish. You can easily bounce off the pivots here and swing right back up. So the 5 minutes actually still bullish. Everything's pretty much bullish for the most part, except for the 1 minute. So looking at this here, again, I'm looking for a confirmation because like I said, I'm looking for price to push out of this area and climb up higher. Because when it does that, it's going to line up with the 5 minute, the 10 minute, the 30 minute, 1 hour, and the 4 hour. So everything here is indicating that, okay, look for some buys to confirm first. And then once you have those buys confirmed, you can start chasing it up higher. The 5 minute here may shift, but it looks like it's just going to bounce. Looks like the 1 minute might fake out again right here and shoot right back up. Because if that's the case, the 5 minute here will also follow through. Right? You can see the 5 minute is bouncing directly off the pivots right here. And it's trying to climb up higher from where it's currently at. So that is what we are looking for here. I'm looking for this 1 minute again to push up, climb up higher. Once it does that, it's going to line up with the higher time frames. So I'm pretty much set with buys today. I'm just going to be looking for buys here to come up for the most part. Because looking at the bigger picture here, I mean, it makes all the reason to look for buys here. There's just no reason to look for sells because everything on the higher time frames are bullish. It's just the market needs to stop playing around over here and break out of this area. Once it does, then we start looking for some entries. So again, right here, I'd be looking for this to break above, come back for the retest, and climb up higher from there. Looks like that'll happen eventually. It's just going to be a matter of time until it does, though. All right. So looking at this so far, still nothing here yet. 7:03. We still got some time. I mean, we got a lot of time. All right, again, guys, if you guys are just joining us, this is an area of manipulation. We don't want to trade around this middle area. The reason for that is because we have the Asia high and New York high right here. You can see how price gets manipulated whenever it gets near these price structures. Like, for example, right here, price is just trying to fake out in both directions. You can get faked out here in either direction. If you're chasing it for a sell, price will spike up, stop you out. Chasing it for a buy, price spikes back down, stops you out that way too. So depending on how big your TP stop loss is, it's easy to get faked out in both directions. The ATR is currently at 25 right now, so it's pretty much normal for summer conditions. It's not very volatile like how it was last week. This is pretty much normal. It's pretty normal, but it's a little higher than usual. So yeah, the ATR back, I think the ATR before was like at 15, like last summer. Last summer was actually really, really slow. There's some volatility here, but there's just no direction. Let's go back to our clean chart. So like I said earlier, fake out, and a fake out down here. So every time price fakes out, comes back below, lures in some sellers, pulls back into the range, pushes up, lures in some buyers, pulls right back into the range to stop everybody out. Does the same thing again right here, pulls right back down. The reason why I knew this was going to fake out again, guys, because we had a double body V1 variation right here. So I said, yeah, watch out for those V1 variations. If you guys want to trade the V1s, it's pretty useful because you can catch the tops and bottoms basically. Again, like earlier, we saw the V1 variation right here. When this was playing out, I was like, okay, look out for the possible retracement back down. And then one of two scenarios will likely play out. It'll either bounce off the level, come right back up. And that's what I was hoping for. Or in the other scenario, price will break below and pull back into the range, which is where price is currently at now. All right, so we are directly in the range right now. It's right down the middle. This is a possible CV pattern, guys. So like I just said earlier, this is a reversal pattern. If this candle closes green, this will be a possible CV pattern, which is a reversal back to the upside. Candle has to close green though. Actually, it's not going to happen anymore because this is now a new low. So no CV pattern there. Keep looking out for those V1 variations and CV patterns because those are going to be the indication of a reversal back to the upside. Ah, man. Today is today's just what I expected for Wacky Wednesday. Yesterday was kind of crazy. The volatility was kind of crazy yesterday. So it's kind of expecting today to be a little slower, which it is a little slower, especially with the CPI news. I was actually expecting the price to spike a little more from the news this morning. So if you guys saw the news spike from 5:30 a.m., it actually didn't spike very much. It spiked just enough, but not enough for it to like really make that big of a move. It was a 185 point spike. Not directional, but spike. So it pushed up about 80 points, and then it pushed down about 100 points. Not a big spike for CPI. Usually CPI is heavier than PPI. Not sure if it was heavier this time. All right, guys, we got price coming back up. It's not really an area to trade in though, like I said. So if you guys are not familiar with the red flags, basically any of the lines that go horizontal, left to right, they are red flags. So I don't trade around these areas. So I don't trade at the purple lines. I don't trade at the green lines. I don't trade at the blue lines. I don't trade at the red lines. Sometimes around the pink lines, depending if it's a high impact or low impact. This right here is a high impact news event from CPI this morning. So obviously I wouldn't trade around that area. It's just an area of manipulation. You can see that when price ever gets close to these price points, you can start to see some like funny business happen, right? Like you see this right here, price came down super hard and then it is reversed right back up. Same with this huge red candle right here, right? Price pushed up. As soon as it got to this purple line right here, which is the Asia high, came down sharply about 100 points. So, sorry guys, 1 second. So basically, what I'm trying to get across with these red flags here and these lines that I've drawn on the chart, the real goal here is to know when not to trade. It's not necessarily when to trade because you can get lucky. I'm sure you guys have had that feeling before where you guys just see price going up and you just chase it, right? Like for example, here, price is pushing up and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are like, oh, I can just ride this up. Sometimes you just take a random buy position you go for like maybe 10 or 15 points and you're like, okay, full TP, it hit your TP really quickly. But that's the thing. Like trading is, I feel like winning at trading is pretty easy, but knowing when not to trade is the hard part, right? So like, for example, like I said, you don't want to trade around this area because see how price is currently at the sessions? You can be chasing this for a buy and then all of a sudden you can just get faked out and it'll swing right back down. It doesn't, there's no specific line to specifically avoid. You should avoid all of them. Like, for example, this green line right here, this could have been avoided because price could have bounced off it. And you can see right there, it's starting to get manipulated, starting to swing right back down. If it doesn't bounce off this price or this structure, it can push up and bounce off this structure. So my goal here is really teaching you guys risk management. It's understanding when to avoid the trades. This is what's made me a successful trader over the past, 8 years of us live trading. It's because I'm able to avoid a lot of the losses. Because there's a lot of pointless losses that could be easily avoided. And I'm sure if you guys have been journaling your trades, if you guys journal them and you see like the trade that you lost that could have been easily avoided, I'm sure you'd add up to like a lot more profitability at the end of each week and at the end of each month, because it's a key thing. If you can just prevent a lot of the losses that you incur, your win rate and your profitability will go up dramatically for sure. I've gone back to a 1-to-1 risk reward, so you guys can see the win rate for myself hasn't really, it's kind of dropped a little bit, but that's because we're back to a 1-to-1. You can see over here in January, we had a 93% win rate because we were doing negative risk reward. So we need to have a very high win rate to be profitable. And then right here, we started doing a 1-to-1, 60% win rate, 72% win rate, 81% win rate, 64, 73 from last month, and 63 right here. So the win rate has fluctuated, but the profitability is higher actually. So if you look at the profits from my journal here, and I journal every trade I take. Like for example, in January, we made 140 points profit. In February, we made 125 points profit, even though the win-loss ratio is way smaller. In March, more profit. April, a little less. May was our first red month of the year. June, 165 points, 165. And that looks like the sweet point from there, the sweet spot from that point of balance. So looking at this again right here, guys, this is what I was just warning you guys about. See how price got up to the structure right there, that purple line. And then if you were chasing this for a buy and your stop loss was super tight, you could easily get stopped out anywhere right here. So this is why I created this indicator for you guys so that you guys can avoid bad trades. You could have the perfect analysis, like your analysis could line up perfectly with whatever you're looking for. But these red flags will tend to get in the way. So price pushed up here, pushed past this green one. But once it got to this purple one, you can see right here, it rejected directly off that purple line. So although I'm not going to basically tell you guys to take all these entries, I'll basically give you guys a heads up when not to take entries, because that's like what I find more important. Because I'd rather have like 1 or 2 wins for the day and no losses, and then just keep doing that daily and just keep stacking up wins versus having like I think last week was kind of crazy. Last week and the week before, right? We took like 10 trades every day. So we had like five wins and like six. We had like 5 wins and like 4 losses. We ended up at 1 net win, but because of the volatility, we ended up all over the place. Yeah, Johnny said high-level momentum scalp, but it was in between the sessions. Yes, there's a high-level momentum scalp that came up over here. But again, like Johnny said, it's tricky because it was right in between the sessions. There was a lower low right here. That was a nice entry, actually, Johnny. There's a lower low right here. This buy signal broke and closed past pivots 1 and 2. And this would have been a high-level momentum scalp right there. So there's still entries that are coming up, guys. It's just tricky because of all of these red flags in this middle area. Let's see, William said, yeah, great talk here. I forced an entry this morning, had a loss, so I had to regain that loss. I overtraded and I know it. Still up nicely for his 3 PA accounts, but his goal is 1 good trade a day or 2 max. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do too, William. That's why I half my risk. So if you guys have noticed, my risk is a lot less now because I've been halving my risk in half since I'm only looking to take 1 or 2 good trades. if I have one good trade, that's like half risk profit. And then if I have two good trades, it's basically one full risk profit. And when you're trading on PA counts, you don't have to risk as much, especially if you're trading like me, where you have 300K accounts. I'm only risking about $500 per account. So it's nice because it doesn't really stress you out as much. If you're risking like thousands of dollars per trade, you're gonna get stressed out. It's inevitable. That's just the nature of trading. The bigger the numbers get, the higher the stress, of course, unless you're like super, super used to it. So again, right here, guys, price is having trouble getting past the purple line. Yeah, Drew said snail movement up. He's expecting a huge red candle. Yeah, exactly right. That's how we got screwed yesterday, just like this big one right here too. This is why I don't like the low volatility, because whenever you guys get this low volatility snail movement, you can almost 100% expect a huge fake out to happen over here. And on top of that, it's right at the session. So another thing to be aware of. Again, we don't have much going on today. We have news over here at 7:30, which is a gas stock change. It's low impact, but I've gotten burnt trading gas stock change in the past. I think 2 or 3 months ago, I took a trade at gas stock change. I was like, oh, nothing ever happens here. And then that same time that I took it, it literally went complete opposite. So I'm not going to trade around gas stock. We'll look. There's a possible, so right here, there's a levels entry. If you guys remember the levels entry, I've been mentioning this like throughout the week. Levels entry right here, which hit. So this candle broke and closed past the level. You would have had your pending buy limit right here, but it came down, filled it, and then it shot right back up. There's also a market flow entry on this candle right here. You can see how this candle came down, touched the pivot, swung right back up, but it was touching the session, so I wouldn't really mess with it for me personally. It's always tricky. These types of markets are always tricky. You just have to be careful with the entries that you guys decide to take. If price climbs up higher from this point, there could be a possible market flow entry again here. I'll continue looking for it and watching for it. Yeah, it's just a little tricky where it's currently at. I don't like how these candles have so many big wicks. It shows that there's not really much of a direction here. So we're having big wicks on both sides, not really too much volatility and not too much direction. So for one, there's not much direction, there's not much volatility, and these candles here are very small and they have big wicks. So I think this is a good time to sit out and just wait for the market here to start actually moving. There's no market flow entry here. If this swings up, yes, but it's not going to swing up. And you can see right there, I already knew it was going to happen because there was like 5 seconds left on this candle. So again, we'll see what happens here next. I'm going to watch this here. All right, this is actually a good sign. We have a V1 variation right here, double body rejection. So if this happens, this could be the start of a continuation to the upside. V1 variation right there actually looks pretty nice. So possible market flow setting up on the next candle here. Be looking out for it. Might be too close to the sessions though. All right, so I'll watch it right here. It's got to come down a little further. So we got 40 seconds left on this candle. I need to come down a little further. That's touching the session zone. So I'll put a pending order here just to wait in case it does swing back up.
Order submitted.
Because we have the V1 variation pattern right here. Hasn't filled yet. See, we've got 20 seconds left on this candle. It's probably not going to fill, so I'm just going to cancel it in the next 5 seconds. And I'm going to cancel it. No fill there.
Order canceled.
Cancel my order. Yeah, it's just a little too close to the sessions right here. I mean, I like the setup because we have the V1 variation pattern right here, but again, it's too close to the sessions. I don't want to trade around this area because you can see how price is getting highly manipulated around this area here. It just has trouble getting past it. I need price to actually push away and climb from here, but it's just not happening. So just have to sit tight and wait, guys. Let's see, Barack said he took 2 big losses today, so he can't place a trade right now without risking his maximum risk for the day. So he's gonna go take a walk. Yeah. Cool off for real quick, Barack, before you revenge trade your way down any lower. All right, so the V1 variation pattern over here just got invalidated. I'm still gonna see this as a V1 variation pattern. I'm gonna see if this here pushes up. So although the V1 variation has disappeared, because this candle has dropped down lower, I'm going to see if it actually continues up. So I think this might be a fake out. So it's the same thing that happened over here. We had a V1 variation pattern right here. It spiked up to fake out slightly, and then it came all the way down, right? So same thing with this here. We have this V1 variation pattern. Price can easily fake out here and just swing right back up. But if it doesn't, that's fine. But I'm going to keep looking at this here as a V1 because same thing happened over here. So you just look for the patterns to repeat. The patterns tend to repeat themselves. Like if you see the V1 here where it faked out and then it came right back down, the same thing can happen right here. V1 right here, pull down for a strong fake out to stop the initial entries, and then it climbs up after. Yeah, Kevin said could have been good, but that's why I like the strategy. We avoid a lot of these fake outs. Yeah, same here. And it's more fast paced, right? You have to be paying attention to the price action. You're not necessarily getting in like all the time, and you're not getting in when the candle is closed, but you're getting in like when it's the right opportunity for you to get in. That's why I like the strategy as well, because you're always on your feet, which if you're scalping, you should always be on your feet. You should never be slacking or being lazy, because the second you become lazy is the second that you either miss the trade or you make a mistake. So you should always be following the price action to see where price is going. You know, it's basically just pure price action at this point. So again, right here, price is starting to climb back up. This is what I'm looking for. I want to see that confirmation. So if price climbs back up, I'm expecting price to actually climb up higher, just like it did over here. Right? V1 variation, faked out slightly, came right back down super heavily. So I'm looking for the same thing to happen over here. We're getting closer and closer to news, guys, so just keep that as a heads up as well. 6:23 right now. We got news at 7:30, so something to keep in mind. So we got liquidity right here. Got liquidity down here as well. All right, so it looks like it's trying to set up for what I was just mentioning. So I think this is going to be the look that we've been waiting for as it pushes up. There's a possible market flow here, but it's already too late to enter. We'll look for the next one to come up. All right, if price pushes up any higher, target price point is going to be the liquidity up there. This could be a possible market flow. Swings back up. Need to come down a little lower. Yeah, and if it closes green, like Rashida said, also a V3 continuation. we got like 20 seconds here. I'll put a pending order here just in case it swings back up last second. I'm going to be watching it to cancel in case it doesn't. So it's got 10 seconds left on the candle. It's not going to fill, so I'm going to cancel it.
Order canceled.
Possibly on the next one here. I missed it. It's too fast. So that's what I was looking for right here. It's okay. I'll wait for the next one. All right, it's got 35 seconds here. Look for the next candle here. I'll be quick with these entries. Yeah, this is going to play through too. So as soon as it comes down, I'm going to just probably set my order. If I see it drop decent amount. So I'll be right there at the 68. All right, I'll put my pending order here just to wait. I don't know if this will fill. It's dropping pretty heavy, so might not fill. But I'll be watching it here. So we've got 30 seconds left on this candle here. 20 seconds. We've got 15 seconds. I'm probably going to cancel it in the next 5 seconds, guys. We've got 10 seconds left. All right, I'm going to cancel it. We're getting too close to news here, guys. I'm going to hold off until the news passes.
Order canceled.
No fill again right there. The volatility is just not high enough. We're getting some movement here, but it's not high enough for it to actually come down and then swing all the way back up, which is what we need. We need that volatility because we want this to, basically what I'm looking for here, if you guys are not familiar with the market flow, is I'm looking for this to basically come down at my pending order waiting there. I want it to bounce off the pivot and just shoot to my TP. And that's pretty much what I'd be looking for. There's another one right here. There's another one right here, but again, it's so close to news right here at 7:30. I've been burnt trading gas stock change at 7:30, so I'm not going to risk it. If you guys want to take it, I'll leave this up here so you guys can follow it. But, I learned from my mistakes. I think that's like one of the biggest things that a lot of people fail to do. It's like learning from your mistakes when you guys are making errors when you guys are trading. So like my rules are to not trade at red flags, not to trade at news, basically 5 minutes before news, about 5 minutes after news to see how market reacts to the news event. And that one day I decided to trade at 7:30 and I ended up losing. So I'm gonna stick to my rules. There's another market flow right here. It's currently running in profit. But again, it's too close to news right here, so I don't really want to mess with any trades at this moment. So we got a bunch of gas stock change. This happens every week. Yeah, pretty much every week. Every Wednesday we have gas stock change. So it's not like anything new to us. I'm familiar with it. So this one's still running, but again, because we have news coming up shortly, volatility is probably just going to get super flat. As we get closer to 7:30 right here, which is the news price or news time. All right, we got 1 minute until gas stock change comes out right here. It's forecasted to be negative. So forecasted to be negative just like CPI. Just because it's forecasted to be negative doesn't mean price needs to come down. It can actually do the opposite. That's why I don't mess with news. Like I think the last time I took the gas stock change, all the news was positive and it still spiked down. It dropped. It didn't even spike down. It like slowly climbed down. And it was super annoying because nothing pointed towards price to drop. It should have continued climbing. So we got news over here. It's forecasted to be negative in the next 10 seconds. I'm going to see how price reacts to it. Once price reacts to it, I'll start looking for some entries after that. All right, here goes the news candle. And it's doing exactly what I would have anticipated for gas stock change. Not very much movement. So you can see normally there's not much movement. Just for whatever reason, that one day I took the trade during gas stock change, it did the complete opposite. But not very much movement there. It's low impact to medium impact. It was negative just like anticipated. So everything kind of lined up. It was actually worse than expected. A lot worse than expected. So this thing, if it comes down, it's supposed to come down. But I don't think it's strong enough to really push price very heavily. All right. So again, I'm gonna look for price to push up out of this area. Like I said earlier, guys, this area of red flags is not an area to trade in. You can see how price got to this purple line right here, and price pretty much did nothing for like the past 20 minutes. It basically faked out to the upside, came back down to stop people out, faked out to the downside, stopped people out here as it shot right back up, then it came right back down. It's just faking out in both directions. Looking over here at our clean chart, we have structure over here, as you guys can see. There's just not much going on here. There's just more structure right there. And it's pretty much the same difference. Nothing really going on. So we got the big range, and then we have the smaller consolidation within it. So if price comes back down to this lower consolidation area, this lower range, not really a good sign, because at this point, we're just stuck in here again. Preferably what I'd like to see is I'd like to see price break out of this area and climb up higher, of course. I'm looking to trade out here. So I'm looking to trade out here and I'm looking to trade down here. So if price comes down lower, that's fine, but I want price to be down here. But if price comes back up, I need price to finally stay up above this area. But I'll keep this as is so that you guys can always come back to this, or we can come back to this. You guys can see the clean chart here. Otherwise, there's nothing else going on here. Price is right back into the range. Okay, the good thing with this is that we're building up liquidity up here. So price does make its way back up. We have liquidity sitting up here. And price will likely break out of it and push up even higher. This point sucks. Market has me yawning. Yeah, there's not really much going on. I'm looking at the level 2. Level 2 is kind of pointless right now because, I mean, it wouldn't matter where the level 2 is going since price just pulls back into the range. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll keep looking for some entries here. I'm just looking for that one good entry, right? I'm looking for just one good entry. I just need one. Once I get that one good entry, I'll be solid. And I can call it a day. I'm not going to force anything here, but I'm just going to keep looking for my opportunity to arise. Drew said wipe out Wednesdays, just stopping out on both sides. I'm out. LOL. Yeah, exactly, Drew. That's basically what's happening here. As you guys can see, it doesn't matter which direction you're trading in. It's easy to get stopped out in either direction. So for example, if you take a buy up here and you chase the buys, stopped out. If you chase the sells over here, price just swung up, stopped out. It's just stopping people out in both directions. That's why I'm trying to get out of this chop here, right? I'm really trying to get out of this middle area because I don't want to be stopped out in this chop over here. We're getting some big moves, but they just pull back into the range. So again, right here, we have price below. If it breaks below, fine. If it breaks above as well, fine. But as of now, It's not really much to work with here. Okay, so price finally broke below this point. It hit liquidity right here. So it hit liquidity, it's below opening price. It's currently at the sessions. We'll see if it has any luck breaking below this point. If not, it's probably going to correct back up. So we're currently at the London high right now. All right, this is a possible CV pattern right here. If you guys are not familiar with the CV pattern, if this candle closes green, never mind, take that back. It dropped lower. So there's no CV pattern here, just a lot of fake outs. But we'll see if this here swings all the way back up. It's just like what Drew just said, wipe out Wednesday. It's a funny name for a Wednesday. But that's pretty much what's happening. People are getting wiped out in both directions. If you're chasing the sell here, possibility of you getting wiped out as it continues to climb back up higher. All right, let's see if this pulls back into the range over here. Another fake out below right here at the lower range. And push right back up. Same thing we've been witnessing pretty much all day today. Nothing's changed. I was hoping if it was going to drop, it'd actually drop. Come down here so I can start taking some sells. But it's all good. It's all good. So again, if you guys are just joining, no profits on my end over here. I just have my profits I took this morning, made about 7,000 per account. But the rest of my actual accounts right here, my personal account, no trades, and then my PA accounts down here that I normally trade on, no trades. We've just been hanging out all day, pretty much waiting for this here to break out of the range. But so we started initially right here, right? If you guys remember earlier this morning, we started initially right here. And not much has really happened. I mean, price did move, but it didn't move far enough. Came up right here, faked out. Came up right here, faked out. Came down right here, faked out. Again, right here, faked out. So there's just fake outs in all directions. So if you guys just look here, I'll circle out the fake out areas down here. So just be careful where you're chasing because it's really easy to get faked out. Like if you're getting too overly confident, you gotta humble yourself and just understand that you gotta make sure you analyze it from both sides. So even if you're looking for a buy there, analyze it for a sell just to make sure that you're not taking a fake out. And if you're taking a sell, like for example, if you were chasing the sell right here, you know, price rejected directly off the structure. So if you analyzed it both ways, you could have easily seen that, okay, you probably would have gotten faked out here and you would have possibly gotten hit by your stop loss. So we have another, let's see, a V1 variation pattern right here. We have a V1 variation pattern right here. This is a good sign because if you get a V1 variation, this is also a CV pattern. So we're getting a double body rejection here, which is going to be a CV pattern. And on top of that, we're having a CV pattern here. So if this happens, this could be a reversal to the downside or a continuation in this case. So basically price came down, retraced up. We're getting the reversal pattern right here, possible continuation down lower. The candle has to close red though. And it did not close red, so there's no reversal pattern there. All right, so we will continue to wait for something here to happen. Again, I'm not going to trade within this middle area. I was hoping that reversal pattern would come up here and then push price down lower so we'd start looking for some entries down here, but it's not really looking like it. And I'm fine if we don't take any entries today. So if we don't take anything for today, I'm completely fine. There's no need to force any entries here. Obviously, the market hasn't been good today. You guys can see here, there's no direction. There's no need to force anything here. It's better to conserve your capital for a better trading day. Today's just not one of those days. It's pretty much been in this red flag area this entire session. So market opened up right here at 6:30. All the sessions right here, all the sessions right here. I pretty much warned you guys about this earlier this morning. I said, unless price breaks out of this area and continues to climb or continues to drop, I'm not going to take any trades. I followed my trading plan today, so that's a good sign. You guys got to remember, if you guys have a trading plan, which you guys should have, everybody should have some sort of trading plan in place. If you follow your trading plan and you don't win any trades, that's fine. I would consider that a win for the day. If you lose a trade and you're following your trading plan, that's still a win in my book because your trade psychology is not getting screwed over. But if you lose a trade and you're not following your trading plan, like you take something random, for example, here you think price is going to come down, right? Because I do think price is going to come down. If you just take a random sell here, and then say, for example, you lose that trade, but you're not following your trading plan, then that's a huge loss for the day, right? Because for one, you lost a trade, which means you lost money. And then on top of that, your trade psychology is all screwed up because you didn't follow a trading plan. So just keep that in mind, guys. As long as you follow your trading plan, whether it's a winning day or a losing day, that's still considered a good day for me personally, because I think that's the hardest part for a lot of people. They can't follow a trading plan, right? There's no consistency, there's no routine. And that's why that's why a lot of people don't find consistent profits, because you're just doing something different every other day. You're either getting lucky and that's why you're winning, or you're losing when you shouldn't be losing. All right, so we will continue to look for some more entries here. But again, like I said, there's nothing going on here at 7:41 right now, getting close to 8 o'clock. Again, I'm not looking for any entries until price breaks out of this area. So in order for me to take something, I need price to actually break out of this area and climb up higher. Ideally, I'm looking for some buys here. So if price finally breaks out of this area and climbs up from where it's currently at, I can possibly start looking for some entries here. I'll probably hang out for another 5-10 minutes. If nothing happens right here in the next 5-10 minutes, then I'm probably going to call it a day. Because if it doesn't happen here, then I'm not expecting it to push up in the next 20 minutes, right? Like I really need price to just be up this area, up and past this area over here. There's a possible market flow right here, but it's right at the session. So obviously not one that I'd recommend taking, one that I would take myself. Again, I'm following my trading plan. I'm not trading at these red flags. So in order for me to take something, I need price to be outside this area. I'll take trades up here, but I won't take trades down here. Vimal is asking if they're eval or PA. So I don't know when you got in here, Vimal, but it's the same thing that I talked about yesterday. These are evals that were accidentally purchased over the weekend. I said I was going to pass them so I can have backups, and that's why I have backups now. So they're now PAs. I mean, technically they were evals at the time, but now they're PAs because you can see the profit here. They've been passed. So all the PAs are down here, and these are the backup PAs. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to increase my contract size for these seven PA funded accounts that are already PA'd. And I'm just going to make more profit on there and just keep getting payouts until I need to swap them out. So say, for example, I take too much risk on these and then I, for whatever reason, blow them at some point, then I'll just switch these out. So I'll have some brand new PAs already ready to go. So yeah, I mean, obviously these are evals, them all. I'm not going to take this much risk on a PA account. So that is, that's what they are. Yeah, I'm never going to take risks like that. Like with the PA accounts, guys, unless I have backup accounts, I'm not going to take any risk. I'm making about like 500 per trade on those PA accounts. And I'm happy with that because one trade a day is like 10,000 across all the accounts. So I don't need to take like 7. And also when you're making big withdrawals or payout requests from Apex, you don't want to take really big requests because that's how you get flagged. So I keep it pretty low. I request maybe 5 to 10,000 per payout period. And I don't get like, they don't flag me for anything. If you start to request like, 40,000, 60,000, 100,000 during a payout period, then yeah, you're probably gonna get flagged and they're probably gonna deny your payout if you've been doing something that's not within guidelines. I think the 30% rule is really what screws people over a lot too. And that's why you got to keep profits kind of like within. So when I increase the contract sizes on my PAs that I'm going to take riskier trades on, I'm probably going to go to like maybe 1,500 per trade. So instead of 500, it's 1,500. Should still be within the criteria of the 30% consistency rule. All right, so there's no entries here. I mean, there's a possible market flow entry that came up right here on this red candle. Not one I would take, of course, because it's right at the red flag there, which is a news price. You can see right there, price is pretty much just screwing it over. Vimal's asking, nice, how do you take a news trade? I mean, I can't tell you how to take a news trade because I know nobody's going to follow the directions on that. You just got to take a side. Vimal, you can't. You just take a side basically. I mean, there's only so much you can do with the news trade, Vimal. It's you're either going to buy or you're going to sell. There's no real logic behind it. There's no like strategy behind it, right? Because price is going to spike up or it's going to spike down. The problem with this here is that it doesn't work all the time. Like for example, I took a buy over here and I only went for about 30 or so points because I needed to make 7,000. So I just calculated my risk, right? Calculated my risk. I made 7,500. I already knew price was going to be a buy here because it's like pretty much common sense. NFP was bullish, PPI was bullish, today was CPI. What did I think was going to be? Bullish, right? That's why I took the buy here. It's not something I mean, you can do it if you want, but I'm not going to tell you how to do it because I don't want to have you complain to me when you blow your accounts because it's not something easy. I mean, it looks easy because I can show you my profits, but trust me, it's not that easy because I don't want to be the one I don't want to be the one for people to blame if they screw up and then they don't do it right. Because this was a 50-50% chance, right? It was a 50-50% chance price was going to go up or go down. The thing is, I used my logic. I looked at the previous news. NFP was positive, PPI was positive, today was CPI. I was like, okay, this has got to be positive too. Or actually it was, yeah, it was positive. So if you look at the news from this week, I mean, you literally just look at the news. PPI was positive. You look at NFP from last week, it was positive. So I was like, okay, if that's the case, then CPI is probably going to be positive. That's why I took the buy. But it doesn't always work out that way. So I mean, you can take your own gamble if you want, Vimal, but it's not something I recommend, especially if you don't know what you're doing. If you're just taking a gamble and you're like, oh, I just want to do this because I think I can pass, you probably shouldn't do it because you're going to get blown. Like for example, today I only had to make 7,000 for the CPI news. So I only had to go for like about 30 points, right? If you had to go for anything more than 30 points, like say 100 points, you probably would have blown your account. You probably would have lost because this thing didn't push that far. Traditionally, you'd have to go for a buck. So I did a calculation. You need 117 points to pass a 300K account. So it just wouldn't be possible. If you were trying to pass a 300K account just today, it wouldn't have worked out. I took PPI yesterday, took that for, I think I made 10,000 on that trade. Let me check. I made close to it. So I just like slightly missed it by like 3,000. So I got really close to it. And that's why today I just finished it off. And it doesn't work for all news days. There's only 3 different news events that you can really have some big volatility like that. It's going to be NFP, PPI, and CPI. So if you guys want to look into it, feel free. But again, it's not something I'm going to teach you guys because I don't want you guys to be gamblers, right? I want you guys to be actual traders and you guys have to know what you're doing, not necessarily taking some lucky news trade to, because I've seen people I've seen other people who actually use this as a strategy. You guys can't do this during PA phase. So just keep that in mind. If you guys do this during eval, perfectly fine. But you can't do this during PA. If you do this during PA, they're probably gonna ban you. I mean, Apex has a specific rule that says no news trading for their PA accounts. So that's why I don't want to instill bad habits for you guys. I mean, I can do it because I know what I'm doing, but for someone else, like say you, Vimal, I don't know if you'd be able to execute this like the way I do it. Not just you, but just anybody else who's like not at that level of understanding how to calculate their own risk, how to calculate how many points they need, how to calculate the account size and all that stuff. There's a lot of different things that go into play rather than just hitting buy or sell. because you also have to factor in your trailing drawdown, right? You might be going for a specific target, but for example, today, this thing over here spiked both directions. So if your trailing drawdown was too close, like for example, I think it spiked down first before it spiked up, or what happened here, so I was watching it, of course. It spiked up 30 points, hit my TP, and then it spiked down about 100 points, and then it spiked right back up. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. So you have to be smart about it. You have to understand how to calculate your risk, and you have to understand how to set up your trade so that you don't get caught in those whipsaws. Like yesterday, I had a trailing stop on mine. That's why my profits here didn't lock out at the full 20,000. Right here, I got out at like 19,000. It's supposed to be at 20, but obviously there was slippage because the price was moving too fast. And then I had my stop loss move in profit once it reached like 100 points. So it closed me at 100 points rather than the 117 that I was looking for, which is what I needed. So, all right, guys, it's 7:50 right now. Not really expecting any more entries to come up from now until the end of the session. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat now so I can answer them. Otherwise, I'm probably going to wrap this up. I just don't see any entries here. Price has not broken out of this range. And like I said, I'm not going to trade within this range here because there's so many red flags. There's just sessions right here, sessions right here, sessions down here, sessions down here. There is just nothing here for us to take. I would look for a possible market flow down here, but because there's so many sessions and so many red flags, like even if I was to find one right here, there's already high impact news right here. So, I mean, it's tough because I don't have enough space here to actually hit my TP. So, all right, guys. I mean, if there's any other question that you guys have, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. That's the fastest way to get in touch with me. No trades today, unfortunately. We're just gonna wrap it up as is, chalk it up as a no trade day. As you guys can see, the market here didn't really do much. We pretty much expected this to happen from market open here. Market open right here at 6:30. Like I said, I was going to take any trades until price breaks out of this area. Price never broke out of this area. It kind of just came up, faked out, came up, faked out, came up, faked out, came down, faked out. And it's literally back to where it was on market open. So you can see market open right here at 6:30. Price is right here. It's like price didn't do anything. Everything out here was just a fake out. So this is all artificial movement. And price is back to where it was earlier, right down the middle. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, like I said, I took no trades today, so we're going to count this as a basically no trade day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. So, all right, guys, I'll catch you guys back here tomorrow for the next live session, and we will continue on with this trading week. I believe we have some news tomorrow. Yeah, we have news tomorrow and on Friday. We have retail sales pre-market. So if you guys like them all, if you want to do that thing that I just talked about today, don't do it tomorrow because these news events don't move that much. They barely move. And then on Friday, we have building permits. Again, these news events don't move a lot like that, but there will be volatility throughout the session. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow.